everybody. Welcome to this episode of It's Your Birthday, the only podcast that gets you a gift every single week. And this gift is no different, and it's always video games. From the inside the controller to your TV remote, inside Gundam models, probably in this small frog. There might be a video game hiding in that little guy. You don't know, and I don't either. I'm not going to crack it open. I'm too afraid. But we got, I mean...
Yeah,
Played video games this week. Did you play any video games this week?
You are certainly right, Kelly. In fact, I'm going to go back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, the one that gets updated?
Yeah.
Cool.
Dude, so...
The Game of the Year edition of Animal Crossing New Horizons, New Leaf?
Yeah, the well-deserved... they update that game constantly. There's... always new stuff to do.
Well, it seems like they got it right out of the gate, and then this one they were like, "We'll figure it out," and then decided they didn't want to after they sold enough. They're like, "We can't please everybody. Let's please nobody. Goodbye."
Yeah, we already roped everybody in. There's no real point.
Y'all already bought a Switch. Do you want to look at your Animal Crossing characters with a better screen? Because that's what you can do. Here come October.
Yeah. That's the whole pitch, I guess. Oh my god. So yeah, I mean, dude, I've this week has just been not a fun one. Personally, I guess. But so I just haven't been able to really dive into a lot of stuff, and I feel weird coming on to record this week because there's not a whole lot that I've been engaged in.
I thought you got the ultimate weapon already. You really couldn't do it? You had to keep going?
I couldn't do it again. I started playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I was just like thinking of all those times I was bullied. And then I was just like, you know what? No, I'm kidding. No, I was
going to say, if that deters you, you really are weak. I thought you were stronger than
not
that.
at all. Not at all. It's a Chad move to like Kingdom Hearts. That's definitely what men who get women say and do.
I mean, back when I was single, I couldn't find a damn Tinder profile that didn't have looking for a man who's into Kingdom Hearts. It was like, God, I kept trying to find any woman that just wasn't into it, but
you must be 9'8" and you must love Kingdom Hearts. You have to, if you don't own a pants with like 40 different zippers, it's over. You don't even apply. No messages. They'll get denied immediately.
Yeah, your rod must be as stiff as your hair is. You need to have stiff, spiky hair, stiff Zeus's rod. You gotta have. You know what they're really looking for is just like a ripped janitor, because that's all really Sora is he's sort of just like a cosmic janitor to the Disney universe.
He just has like a bunch of keychains and like just baggy clothing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the profession and.
Yeah, he's got two people that work under him who are both, they should have helmets. You know what I mean? They should be. I don't know.
That's a very mild, fun way to put it.
Yeah, they're folks that they hit with swords and hammers or shields. Like I guess there's what you should know is that one of the guys thinks that a shield is just a straight up only weapon he needs.
Hey, he's all right with it. It's fine.
I get it. I mean, Goofy and Captain America are basically the same character. I understand.
Dude,
here's the thing.
I mean, arguably, Goofy, he's doing some neat shit in those games. I haven't seen Captain America
turn into a half mermaid.
Yeah, and like do a tornado move like halfway across the arena and just like, don't throw him up in the air and shoot him into the ground like a rocket. Like, but hey, I don't want to do the merry-go-round where I spin the
I don't either. I want to end this by
minutes.
saying I did get Kingdom Hearts all-in-one for the PS5. Anyway.
Okay. Nice.
It's unfortunate.
Nice.
But I'm going to be knuckled into it at some point. Because we had one of the comments on our last episode on is someone I know personally, and they didn't know that my disdain for Kingdom Hearts was so high, and even they were like, "Well, I can't believe you hate Goofy and them so much." And I was like, "You are an adult English teacher, and you're telling me the Kingdom Hearts is good." But no, I'm gonna definitely No, I have to shout out to him, by the way. He's a very nice man. But I gotta damn it, I gotta play Kingdom Hearts, I guess, and I really don't want to, but I'm gonna do it. Don't be pulling up me and Kingdom Hearts footage right now. Don't even
No,
start
no,
with
no,
this.
no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
No,
okay.
I'm not gonna make it.
I couldn't
what you
see
think I'm gonna make
what
it.
was being typed, and I was like, if we do this rigmarole again, this roundabout. Okay.
No, like I came in with so much thunder and excitement, and then a certain third-party streaming service fucked me, and it's all I can think about. It's all I can think about. It's just
Is that so?
Yeah, I was like amped to
mean,
talk about things, and
look,
then I
there's
just
only
got
one
goofed.
Here's the thing. There's only really one big news piece this week, my man. So why don't you just spill the old beans? Let them know how you feel.
It. We'll just yeah. So because I love I love handheld consoles, and two, Nintendo just like
I thought we were talking about Restream. All right, we can pop into this though. That's fine. I was like, yeah, go ahead and argue, and you're like, all right, perfect.
I can't.
The Switch Pro, and you're like, wait, whoa.
I didn't want to call them out by name or nothing, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, what other streaming service? What other company offers the ability to stream on multiple platforms at the same time? Is there another one?
I know you can do it through like Streamlabs OBS. There's like a premium feature there, I think.
Oh, there is. Yeah, you're right. There is. Yeah, that's true.
There's a few different avenues you can go down, and a certain company gave me 30% off to not cancel, and I said, okay,
to grease the wheels.
And here I am getting ready to talk 30 minutes ago.
Well, no, it's not even. Yeah, it's not even here I am getting ready to talk. It's here I am getting ready to do the exact purpose of this software, and it's like, ooh. Sorry, bud.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, because
that's what you get for trying to cancel on me, motherfucker.
Like, you might see like a couple 5-second long videos on the Twitch stream, and you'll see me go like, "Why does it say I'm streaming at 20 frames a second?" And then I look at OBS, and it says I have like 10,000 dropped frames like immediately, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" Like, yeah.
What's this new issue after I just resubscribed? Like, what's going on? Actually, what's going on after I just paid in advance, which is even wilder. Because it was like, it's not even just now. It's like, oh, cool. Well, a good investment, you guys. Thank you.
And this isn't the first time that some stuff like that has happened. I remember we were doing. Yeah.
I would almost argue since we've started streaming every episode, at least something. And it's not your fault. Something just decides to change every time. We have not done anything to tamper with it.
There was a good streak there for a little bit where things were calm.
We did have that one episode. Yeah, so that's good.
But
no, but it's
all a learning experience. So I'm still like trying to figure out how to redo this whole thing, right? Like, I guess we can open air talk about it, like the whole look of things. Like, do you like the way it looks? Do you like,
I don't have a biomechanical frame around my picture that has red LEDs coming out of it, and that's upsetting because I do want that. I sort of want it to look like a tribal window into the inside engine of my Harley is what I really want. But no, I want a sort of an aesthetic that's like halfway between the UFC and a Bass Pro Shop. You know what I mean? Like sort of outside.
Oh, dude,
air,
yeah. Well, I mean, right in the middle
aggressive.
is wrestling, right? Right in the middle there is like WWE.
Yeah. Well, because these games are all fighting for my affection. That's what it is. It's all video games. Truly, when we get down to it, are fighting for your and I's affection. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They want to sell hundreds of millions of copies, but really they want to sell just 2. One to each of us.
Yeah, and we should have that dichotomy, right? There should be, you, who's like the in-between, like kind of like, little, maybe toothless, maybe a little, maybe a little trailer parky, maybe a little, maybe a little, and then there's me, right? And I'm going to do... Because that's what you're saying, right? Between like a Bass Pro Shop and like and UFC like aesthetics, right? I'm gonna go like the complete like other direction with it, and I'm gonna get like a bunch of like LED lights, right? And then every episode it's going to be LED lights, and it's also going to be like fan art behind me. And I'm also going to
we got
every
a ton
episode.
of fan art coming in, by the way, guys. Thank you so much for all that fan art. We've got
Nobody would know it was me doing
furious.
it. Nobody's listen.
Yeah.
Nobody would know, right?
No.
And so I'm gonna bring a person on to debate every episode, and we're gonna flip this thing into a political show, and you're gonna do your bottom right on the show is gonna be you next to video game footage, and it's gonna be me up here, like really letting into somebody who has a various opinion other than mine, because that seems like where YouTube is headed. I still want to keep the gaming angle, but I want to get really angry in debates on YouTube. Like, I think.
Okay. So what you mean is, so you're saying we have two shows simultaneously happening on one stream, correct? So we're both just open air discussion with our counterpart, which is not either of us. We're not talking to each other anymore. Okay.
No.
Just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
So it's no longer you and I, but it is us debating different things. You, politics in the corner. I guess I'm talking over a video game, and then you, the audience, get to hear both of those conversations happen in real time over top of one another
at the same time. That way we can hit all different markets, right? We can get into the gaming space, and then I can get into yelling at people at Politicon. That's
here's
the
what we
end goal.
do. Here's what we do: is we'll have. You take the left speaker, I'll take the right speaker, and then the viewer can decide what ear they want to. So if they want to get politics for a few minutes, they go okay, and then they'll switch back over and hear me talk shit about Tomb Raider or something.
It's you chewing on Chaw and playing Cabela's Big Game Hunter, and then flip back to me, and we're talking about.
You're saying so. On one side, you're talking about. Greg Abbott and how we should get rid of all wheelchair ramps, and then on my side I'm talking about how like Sonic the Hedgehog is not as cool as he thinks he is. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, you're playing Shadow the Hedgehog and you're like, my motorbike's way cooler than this one, and then you spit into a cup, and then
I've got to be a redneck.
You have
too.
you have to have that persona, and me, it'll just be the same for me, but I'm just screaming a lot. You know.
Oh, how nice for you. Well, guys, that's perfect then, because this week I'm going to be checking out Duck Dynasty for the PS4. A game all about, I don't know, swamp racism, shooting animals you might not eat,
praying
ducks horny.
Yeah,
Talk about turning turning bass into wine, and
hating
I don't know,
gay
segregated
people
schools
and,
or whatever it was the Duck Dynasty guys were on to. I can't wait for that. And then while that's happening, Christian will drop bombs about what's happening in other parts of the country with I don't know,
with Medicare for all or whatever the fuck is going on.
Okay.
God, now I have an image for the show that I can get to.
Sure.
Right. No, I am going to try to do something.
I think,
but it's not going to be any of that.
Well, first we got to talk about our sponsor, which is Biden Care. Well, I guess that's not starting.
There was like a wipe or something coming.
I just got an email about it today, and I was like, oh, he's doing one of those too, huh? I just didn't know what it was. It was just surprising because I was looking at like Steam and GOG, and I was like, huh, what's that? I think this is totally irrelevant, and it is sort of exactly what we just goofed on the whole time. But either way, I do think it is really weird that you can get, like, a president has like a life insurance policy named after them that you can get for yourself or whatever it is, because it's basically like life insurance of some kind.
Yeah. Well,
are selling them to us. It's weird to me, but anyway, that's totally irrelevant. That has nothing to do with video games.
I think it's better than like Mountain Dew making healthcare. I think it's better than them like out there doing like PPO packages. Like, could you imagine getting the Code Red PPO package?
No, you get the Pepsi
cool.
PPO package, and it's sent to you with like every letter comes in the mail with like one white rose and a flower or something to let you know that we're all one together in unity.
For sure.
It comes with like everything. It's like a pride flag, like a white flower of unity, like a dove flies out of it to promote peace. Everything comes in this one letter from Pepsi to you about how excited they are to take care of you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I would love, dude, think about getting a Pepsi IV and how awful that would be. Like if the doctor's like, well, I know morphine's probably what most doctors would suggest, but here at the ICU, Pepsi ICU, sorry, bud, but it's Pepsi across the board. And it's just like
you have IVs
back
there.
Yeah, every time you press it, just hurts more. Like,
Dude, do you think at some point, like if that were a reality, that people would like be like,
when it is, yeah, go ahead though.
Well, they would complain like that it was flat, like they could feel the carbonation and shit. Like, this one's flat.
Because somebody would get high off of it. If you give them they'd be like, oh shit, a Pepsi. I'd be like, oh, caffeine and bubbles. And then then you'd be having people yelling at each other for selling them flat Pepsi and Coca-Cola. It would inadvertently turn Coca-Cola back into a drug. Like, started out as a drug and it turns back. I mean, I guess it kind of is anyway, but either way.
Yeah.
Video games, Christian.
I know. We're getting there. You know what? Just to be honest, we have one big thing to talk about and then nothing else.
It's a pretty big thing, though. I mean, it's not a tiny. It's a pretty monumental occurrence for something like this.
So I alluded to it earlier, but I got really excited because one, handheld consoles, and two, we just kind of got goofed on by a really big company that starts with an N and ends with Tendo.
Ends with Friendo. Former Friendo.
Yeah. No friend.
Been lied to.
No Friendendo.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's all. Yeah, Steam Deck. It's a Switch, but for just your computer. But it hooks to a TV, and it plays games on its own. And they don't say this explicitly, but I'd have to imagine you could use the in-home streaming stuff that Steam offers, or at a distance. It's also Windows PC, more or less, or exactly a Windows PC. So you can get Game Pass on that bad boy probably as well. So it seems like.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what?
You can throw a
Epic
Windows
Game Store
on it
as well. Yeah. You can put all the stupid storefronts that everybody has on there, but that's better for you because that library is, you got them.
I mean, this is exciting because like I'd been chasing like the affordable like handheld like kind of PC market because like they're starting to become more commonplace, but a lot of them are like very expensive, like the GPD wins and stuff out there.
Let's be clear, too. This boy ain't cheap either.
It's not exactly cheap, but the others that are coming out are like over $1,000 easily.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, I mean, and you need somebody like this to get into this. Like, they're sort of the only person in this space positioned to do this properly. Like, Alienware can try it, sure, but I mean, if you got your store, you know, if Walmart's making the thing. You know, you might as well go for their thing for this. But I think the thing that's exciting is they've sort of like worked. It's sort of the same thing that happened with Nintendo, where they were building all their facets of stuff and sort of put it into one thing. This is kind of the same thing where they've gone through like controller iterations with touchscreen and vibration and ergonomics, and they went through again VR, another round of ergonomics and what works with screens and all this stuff, and then they've been. And then you have, you know, the Steam Link, so they're working at home streaming and, you know, compacting how to get these things somewhere else efficiently. So I think, and just general, they're going through the paces of producing a production of anything at all. Like, they're making, of course. You know, an item that is to be sold that will have, you know, break, have damage. You know, they've gone through all that stuff with their other things. Which does make it slightly worrisome because especially, I mean, now you can get an index pretty easily. Like you can just order one and they'll send it to you right away. Whereas it was at one point like a 9-month waiting period.
For sure,
so that is a little worrisome. And I imagine pre-orders for this thing are gonna. Well, look, as we always say, it's another thing to scalp. So here we go. But
I do think that they have a measure, but we'll get to it, but they do have a measure to stop scalping, but reading it, I'm not entirely certain it's going to do what they hope it'll do.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just putting down a $5 deposit, probably not, because chances are, I mean, look, you could sell this thing pretty marked up if you wanted, because it seems like for the most part with what's in there, it still seems like they're selling at a loss, especially on that larger console with that with an NVMe in there. It's got like a pretty good drive in it. I'd take a bigger one still, but it's
Yeah.
pretty decent.
It says yeah, they're measured to stop scalping, or one thing that they mention on here is that your Steam account must be in a valid country, of course. The first 48 hours of reservation availability, your account must be in good standing and have a purchase on Steam prior to June. So that'll hopefully like stop people who are only chasing scalping and have no prior experience in PC.
That's not a bad call, because I mean, they put all those limitations out past the point where you could do anything about it. Like it's like
it's not like you could go buy a $1 game, right? Like.
No, now. Like, it's like they're telling you this. Like, if we reserve it tomorrow, if you hadn't already had a Steam account with a game on it, too fucking bad. And that is, I mean, sucks for, I'm sure, a small amount of folks, but for the majority of people that would actually want this thing, that's really good. And I assume, is there a number of limits to the reservation? It doesn't really matter. We don't really need to get into that.
What I think they said, because I watched like an extended interview, and I think like Gabe Newell himself was just like, we're looking to produce like multi-millions of these like over years. Like we'll constantly make improvements. And the vibe I get is that they will probably end up trying to produce as many as they can reserve. So.
Oh, okay.
And I imagine like maybe later if the demand is crazy, like they'll just be like, okay, you're assigned like wave 4 of this thing or whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean with the index, it was like pretty much to the day 8 months later that I pre-ordered or set my order in, and then it said like 8 months you can pay for it and get it, and that's basically, or 8 weeks I think is what it was at the time. So 2.5 months, but either way it was like to the day. It was like, okay, you can buy this now, it's coming.
Yeah.
So I think they've got a good foundation for this too. I mean, it's just really exciting. I mean, it's exciting for this platform because it just opens it up to everything else like it would normally. It's that thing of like, you don't need a super, if you want to get into PC games and you want like a decent package that is like easier to understand than building a computer, you got like, I mean, you can get a pre-built, sure, but I think this is even more to the point of like it's this thing. You can buy this thing and play PC games if you want, and with the option to like, I mean, a lot of consoles now, like the PS5 supports mouse and keyboard and stuff too, so I mean you can already kind of do that on a lot of them. But yeah, having something like that's I mean, yeah, because the Switch is a great idea, but we've complained through and through. Just performance is not great, and that's the thing about this is like the processor itself is very current. The GPU is like a little weaker, but it's a 1280 screen, so it's not at 60 hertz. So you're not really needing a whole lot to have a pretty good experience on there. And the big thing, which is something we've asked for a million times over, is just like you can adjust the settings like for each game. It's the PC version of the game.
Yeah.
You can tweak everything to run it, how you feel comfortable on your device, which is basically what everybody asks for in a lot of ways. It's not just, performance mode. It's, hey, tweak this, do this, set it down. And I think 1280 is a good crisp resolution too, because it's higher. The Switch itself already looks pretty good, and this is higher res than that. And so that's good. Same size screen. About the same battery length depending upon what you're playing. So it said like 2 to 8 hours depending. And they were saying if you cut it to 30 frames, you get like basically double the battery life on almost anything they've tried, from what I was reading anyway.
And from what I also understand, it's like it's like a modified version of the Steam OS, but it will run Windows applications. And then you can optionally like flash Windows to it. The thing I'm curious about though is that they do sorry. They do have the NVMe option, and I wonder if you buy like the base version, if there is like an open NVMe slot in there, so you could optionally put an NVMe in. That's what I'm not entirely certain of.
I wonder. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, yeah, that would be nice because they don't take much to cool. I mean, they do get kind of hot, but it would be interesting to see what you could do with that. Because I would assume they'd let you do some kind of expansion by the nature of what it is.
For sure. And if it's like the DIM 3 like type RAM or whatever, then would you be able to upgrade the memory on it, or, you know,
Yeah.
tweaking on this thing is going to be where I think I'd be the most interested in it. I mean, I'm already pretty much sold on the concept because I do play a
Well,
lot of
I
PC
think we've
games
been.
mobily, or I try to.
Yeah, I think all of us have been primed for something like it for a long time. Yeah, it's just it's cool. It's cool. It's a handheld portable. I mean, on the again, it's like the I don't know. It's one of the companies that you would want to get into something like this. I guess I've said
For
that I think
sure,
already,
yeah.
but it is
It's not
sort of
like
who you want to
Amazon
see do
doing
it.
this. It's not like,
No, it's
Google
like a
out here
company.
doing this.
It's like a company that's made really good games before, and granted, they don't make too many now, but they've made a lot of good games, and they have
I mean,
still overall the best storefront with the most feature set. They could still use tweaking, but that's the other thing too is I think once you get something like this into a lot of people's hands, more than just trying to get them to build a PC or whatever, I think Steam as a platform gets better. I think they'll be able to kind of streamline every avenue of the Steam setup. I think maybe a little bit more, or at least because it's weird, but it's kind of what they sort of. I mean, obviously they've probably had this in the works for a while. I mean, you look at that guy's eyes right there. He's been working on this for quite a while. That dude is looking zapped. Sorry, my boy. But with like the profile avatars, like all this other crazy kind of weird stuff they've been adding to Steam over the last little bit. That's like nice to see, but you're like, we never needed this, but it's cool that it's there.
yeah.
This does sort of weirdly take that a step further to where you have this like, I don't know, really large splattering of information about the person, like the people you're playing games with or whatever, which you get on, I guess, PC anyway. But I look at this thing as sort of a step to get a market that's like in between just wanting to play a console and in between wanting to build a PC. You've got like this weirdly good slot for this kind of thing.
Yeah, like Steam is the platform. Like it's not like you're playing on a like, oh, this is just a PC in my hands. Like, no, this is a like Steam platform. So I get what you mean, yeah.
Well, and it's like if you're sold on the concept of the Switch, but you're still not like again thrilled with like its performance or like some of its limitations or other stuff, you go, this thing, because it's like a reputable. It's another game giant that's like, check this out, and we don't even really worry with exclusives because basically we get the most of them, of varying quality, obviously, but we get, all the wildest shit. So come on.
And I mean, like, I've always liked the innovation Steam has made. I mean, I have this on my controller or on my desk, like, still to this day. Like, the Steam controller is fucking weird, but there's a lot of stuff that's fun to play on it. I've always been a fan of, like, the gyro on it. The Steam Link I use, like, both built into the TV and the little unit. And I've always tried to do, like, the remote play. And it's just always because, like, here, anywhere you go, like, you're kind of lucky to get a good internet connection in some spots where I am. So, like, anywhere I've lived, I've never had a good enough internet to, like, really take advantage of some of that streaming stuff. Like, doing Steam Link away from the house or, like, in the house. Like, and so, like, being able to maybe take those experiences and do what I've been trying to do, but, like, built into the hardware, like, yeah, that's very appealing to me. And also looks, like, comfortable. Like, the thing just
it
looks
does. It looks
comfortable.
really nice. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I think the biggest the thing about it is it's portable enough, but it doesn't look, super easy to tote around. But it's definitely I mean, like we were talking about for like LANs and stuff. Like, oh my god, just to take this instead of a whole PC or whatever, like a monitor, this thing, and then peripherals, perfect. Because I mean, I can take the downgrade in performance that won't affect my overall experience of playing games in a room with a bunch of other people, and have this thing instead, which would just be God. Then because I mean, I know a lot of people. This is a sort of niche for us, but yeah, I mean, we have LANs fairly often. I mean, like once every couple months we try to. So it's like, for just that even alone, I could even. I mean, come on.
And like QuakeCon, like if this thing is really where it is, like or where it needs to be, like I I don't spend way too much time in the BYOC or whatever. So the time I do spend there, why don't I just throw this on a dock
Yeah,
and
or
play
the
some
time you're
games that
just
way?
sitting in the fucking lobby, you could be blasting with some folks, or you're just, uh, yeah, out on the, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, we've both been infatuated to some extent with handhelds as it is, and like, hey, this is the hottest thing since the Vita, boy. I mean, I guess the Switch is pretty good too, but I mean,
Yeah, this
I'm in.
it just puts in perspective also just like, and I hate to hammer home this, and I don't want to sound like a like have like battered wife syndrome or some shit, but it's just like fucking Nintendo, like, just disappointing. And I'm still there
Yeah,
for their games, and I'm still there for the Nintendo experience of it all, because there's just something different about that company. But they keep throwing these fucking right hooks and left hooks, and I'm just like, but I love you, and they just keep like, we don't, we'll do what we want, like, we're never gonna change. And it feels
yeah,
like I'm almost getting to this point where Nintendo is just not. They're in such a weird place, and it's always been easy to come up with excuses for it and say, that you're glad that they're kind of in their own lane. But after seeing this, it's just like they missed out on like being able to create something or generate buzz around something like truly cool and
yeah.
innovative.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I guess
I
we
don't know.
can't. I don't want to oversell it either. I guess because it is like, I mean, who knows what it's going to end up actually looking like in practice. It seems from all of this, I mean, they're trying to sell the thing, so you got to also listen to that. But they're generally pretty honest as a company with what's going on, for the most part, anyway. At least to the public. Maybe on the developer side and their backdoor deals with some people are a little whatever. But at least with the actual people using their store, they're pretty good. And I mean, their refund policy again, I have to just say, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Which is also something none of these other platforms offer, which is a kind of a big deal, really. If you look at this too, like, as more of a console rather than, like, they're not. The thing is like their storefront's not limited really to anything. It's really only limited to if the developer's going to put it on there, but they're not like restricting it in any way at all generally. So it's like it is this really unique scenario where they sort of have like an option for everybody to get in on it,
Yeah.
and without having to fuss with hardware and other shit. Like Microsoft could easily just go like, "Oh, we got an app designed for this thing. Why don't you get Game Pass on there? It's already on PC anyway." And I doubt any of it's going to detract from them getting an Xbox One X or whatever.
I mean, yeah, of
So
course, because I still find value in, like, all three realms, right? I find value in the home console, I find value in the PC, and I find value in handheld games. Like, I find
yeah,
value in all three of those. And the fact that, like, potentially there's this, like, avenue where all three of those things could come together in a better harmony than I think, like, the Switch is cool. Like, the technology behind it was, like, incredible for, like, when it came out. But it's been, like, it's been a minute. The Switch has been out for a while.
yeah,
And it was interesting, like, because there was all these talks that, like, Sony was looking into doing, like, like, another console, like, as a counterpart to the PS5 that would be, like, a Switch-like handheld kind of thing. They, like, squashed those rumors. There was always rumors about Microsoft working on, like, some kind of handheld thing, and I think that at a trade show, like, several years ago, they were, like, actually, like, showing around, like, prototype stuff, I think.
mm.
Um, but yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
it's
don't.
just
I mean, yeah,
it's just
yeah,
interesting that Steam is, or Valve is, the one that's like, it's not Sony or Xbox that's gonna try to corner this, like, handheld kind of market again. I just think
well, I
it's, like,
mean,
cool.
I think. I mean, I think the thing is like once. I mean, right out of the gate with their VR stuff, they made legitimately the best VR helmet and setup you could get, and so now they're like, all right, well, let's give the best portable handheld PC you can get, and you already have the. Well, one, I mean, for the most part, their warranty is like for their year warranty or whatever, it's like just send it to them. Like, just tell them what's going on, and they'll probably they'll fix it. So it's like, that's already huge, because at least you can at least be pretty assured that, like, if anything fucks up, they'll go, all right, what is it? And then, like, get it fixed for you, or send replacements, or do whatever else. And so I think that's a big deal, which Nintendo generally doesn't have. Like, that's another weird thing, but it is sort of their deal of, like,
yeah, they were kind of like pushed into the extending support for the Joy-Con issue. Like they
and then didn't change them when they
it.
had the chance to do it. Like, is
No.
the other thing is, like, and didn't fix them going forward. They're just like, we'll decide to fix these after all of that. So you're just like, that's kind of sucks too. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to keep rambling on, I guess, but I just think I think it's the best company to do something like this, and so I'm interested to see what they do with it.
We're gonna read every line of the FAQ under the. We're not.
No.
Also, the thing is, the other thing about the scalping though, 1 per customer. I love that line. I love that fucking line. 1 per customer. God, I go to sleep thinking about that line.
I know. Well, I think about it in accordance to the Steam account shit, because it's like, that's like, you would have to, I mean, I can't think again. I mean, the only way you could have done that for other stuff, like another console, couldn't even really ask that, which I think is crazy, because you couldn't have Sony be like, well, you got to have a PlayStation Plus subscription that's active, which I guess they kind of do. But they're not doing that. They weren't doing that out of the gate for the first thing, which they couldn't do. Neither could Microsoft, really. They could be like, you gotta. No,
but Valve knows that they could like do that though, and be like totally okay with it, because I think like Steam is still the biggest single gaming like platform. I'm fairly certain. And there's no recourse there. They know their market, and they know the people that are going to want this thing, and. It's not the guy who has a closet full of shoes. So
right, and that's the thing, is it's not like specifically like the people that would want to have a very good chance out of the gate, rather than it being like, who knows, which is, again, they're like the only person set up to do something like that, really. I mean, I think legitimately Sony and Microsoft should have offered something like that for people that owned like a PS4 or whatever. They should have been, or an Xbox Series, and been like, or an I don't know the Xbox names anymore. I can't care. But the newest Xbox, like, if they if they did the same thing, where it's like, hey, if like if you were a Game Pass subscriber, that's it. You could get an email, like, something to teeter off the other stuff that, yeah, like the guy that bought 8 Nintendo Switches. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
what
for sure.
Doing? Fuck you.
Yeah, I guess to like keep transitioning, we're excited for this. I'm sure one of us will end up getting it.
Yeah,
but yeah, very cool that it happened. But dude, like today, I went to Best Buy because like I have AirPods, but I have a Galaxy phone, and there's always this like weird desync stuff. Like, I read that people had success with them. I like the noise canceling in the AirPods. Fucking cool, right? But I always like ran into desync shit, so I went and bought Galaxy Buds, and they're pretty nice. But like the scalping side of it, there's still this naive part in my head where I'm like, oh, while I'm here, I'm just gonna go run over to the consoles and see what they got. And then I run over, and there's signs everywhere like, ain't getting them, like, just anytime soon. Because like everybody I talk to, like coworkers, my brother, you didn't have luck in the retail space, but I know several people who were like, oh yeah, I was just at a store and I saw one. It's like, how? Like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I saw 2 to 3 at Movie Trading, but they were doing the same shit scalpers are, really, as if I can say it. So like,
yeah, they're forcing you into buying bundles, which is stupid.
No. They were. I mean, Movie Trading was selling the console itself $250 above MSRP before the bundle. So it was already
that's scummy. That's real scummy.
Yeah. And I assume the way that the guy pitched it at the store was sort of like, I'm pretty sure they just buy them from somebody. I'm like, so they bought them second hand, and then that's how they're able to. I was like, I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure these are got sent to y'all. But whatever. So. I mean, because how else you get new video games all the time that come out sealed? You're not buying those from somebody. Somebody just brought you in 10 copies of fucking,
No,
come
yeah,
on.
that's the thing. Like
So,
the movie trading company that used to be open in Plano when I lived there. You could like pre-order games from them. You could pre-order hardware. Like you could, like they had like a
yeah.
whole gaming like rewards program. Like they're a gaming retailer. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit like, are you sure, dog? Okay. So yeah, but no, I mean, it depends where you live. Like in a big city, fat chance. But I think if you lived in a smaller town, yeah, why not? I mean, if the Walmart's got them, not everybody there is going to be like in the town I grew up in. I bet I could probably find one in a store. I would almost guess. I don't know that for
Yeah.
sure, but I would guess I'd have a pretty decent chance of finding one. The problem, really, though, in the small areas, is there's the one Walmart. So if that one Walmart gets it, that's where everybody's going is to that one just to see
You
or
know,
whatever. But
so the city I visit in well, I don't want to say it, but the city I visit in Oklahoma, it's not quite a 2-horse town. It's like a 6-horse town, and like 5 really weird and somehow related like family members of all different avenues. Like they're all just kind of related in very weird ways, you know.
yeah,
You
sex.
know what I'm.
But yeah,
Yeah, you know
I
what
get
I'm.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went to their Walmart. They didn't have one. But thinking about it, there's this other little shitty Walmart that I pass in a real like 2-horse town, like real
Yeah.
like out there. Like you hear the noise like of like the tumbleweeds rolling
The
by.
racism. Oh.
That too. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The tumbleweeds.
You
Right.
hear like distant like just ghosts
Don't
of
do
the
it.
1800s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, come on. I know the boundaries. Come on.
I know.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, again, I doubt anywhere near us or around here will get one in a store. Maybe. I
but
don't
that's the
know.
thing. The people I know live around here, and so I'm like, how are like you're not one of those dudes going to Target at like 6 a.m. and they're like, no, dude, I was just like there with my fucking girlfriend, found one. I was like, okay. Like,
I don't, because we go to Target like 2 to 3 times a week just out of necessity for stuff. I look every time I'm there. Not even the dust of one. It was just like they've got about 5 controllers and that's it, and then and that's been it. And they've had
yeah,
like a few games every now and then, whatever. But yeah, no,
it's just
I
yeah, it's so frustrating, man. Because yeah, I mean, I went in there for one purpose, but I was like, you know what? If there is an Xbox here, I might forego the headphones for a little bit, and,
yeah.
spend a little extra on it.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, because the
no.
thing is with that is if you end up not really utilizing it, you're still good. You can still get basically what you paid back, if not a little bit more. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And the other
um,
thing is that like Best Buy sells graphics cards now, and when I tell
yeah,
people that, they're like, "Oh, Best Buy like doesn't or never sold gaming stuff," and like it's a revelation when I tell them like, "No, they have like
they
a
they've
real
have, dude,
like."
they've had sections for at least the last 4 years or more.
Yeah, I mean, like
Like,
since I worked there like 2016, and that we had it, at least then we had like an Asus pre-built. We had a couple gaming monitors, and we had like Razer mice and keyboards, and that was like
yeah,
it. But yeah, like over the last several years, like yeah, their PC gaming like section has actually gotten pretty good. So it makes
and you
Best
can
Buy
thank
worth
Fortnite
walking
for that.
into. Yeah.
Uh,
Fortnite and
yeah, I
Ninja.
don't. I mean, look, the Best Buy got me a PS5, so I can't even be mad at them. I've had my ups and downs with Best Buy for sure, but yeah, I mean, I've had pretty good luck. They have some pretty good deals, generally speaking, when they have them.
Yeah, not to be
I
like a
mean,
shill, but I don't know. It seems like they did kind of find a way to like, because they have the other thing is they get like limited run games,
yeah,
like is like
that was
they
a smart
distribute
move,
those.
really,
Yeah. They get
because
like
it
really
doesn't.
cool collector's editions and like plushes and
Mhm.
like like gaming
Well, the thing
shit.
is,
I don't know.
they've got the shelf space. I mean, what they could fill it up with, another 15 copies of Fugitive or whatever. I don't know what the game was.
Taken 4, whatever.
Taken 4, whatever. Or they could put a limited thing in there that like you can't really get physically anywhere else. Fuck it. You got plenty of shelf space. I mean, that I will say I went into the. Have you ever been to the Best Buy outlet store that's like down on 635?
Dude, I went there with my parents like a very long time ago to get like washer and dryer combo or something.
Yeah.
That's the only time I ever stepped into that place.
I think if you're looking for like a TV, it might be worth checking out. Other than that, it's like the least amount of utilized space I've ever seen for a business in a building as large as that. It's crazy. It's like they have, it's like there you go in and it's like there's a small 2-register counter right here with like some of the like gray bars with some things like locked behind it, but they're like all just see-through basically, but that's like the registers, just those stands. And then there's like 8 washer and dryers over here. This whole side is boxed TVs and like unboxed TVs that are like pre-owned, and then they have monitors here. That's it. There was like a weird cooling like air conditioner in the corner that I think also was for sale. But that's it. And then everything else is just empty echoes. And they're still playing like pop music in there. And it's like the saddest motherfuckers I've ever seen. It's like it's gotta be like if you fucked up at the regular stores, they'll like send them to the outlet and they're like, no, I can't go to the outlet. He's like, once they go to the outlet, dude, they don't come back. It's like it really feels like this crazy Best Buy dungeon. But you can get a TV pretty cheap there if you wanted to.
That's where they put the workers that want to unionize. That's where they send those people. Yeah.
Like, they just give them that address and they're like, here's how you go to sign up. Where there are some people that are on the union, so you can go check it out there. And then they just like put a bag over your head when you go through the front door and then staple a Best Buy shirt to you.
It's like Get Out, but you're like a Best Buy employee. Yeah.
What they do is they put a bag over your head, have you stand in the center of the store, and then they have like one of those giant yellow tags just stapled to your chest while you're shirtless and just like with like welcome in on it or something.
Yeah.
And you do that for a few months, and then they let you actually talk to people again.
Dude, I mean that just reminds me of like Fry's Electronics, like dying days. Like, did you? So I lived over by the one off of 635 in Jupiter, and it was a joke. Like, it was a joke.
They all started to be like the one in Plano was always kind of the best one, or at least the one that was like the most.
There was one out in Arlington that was pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would go to the one near in Garland that was like by here every now and again because it was closer or whatever. But dude, I swear to you, I went in there one week. I talked to this employee. She was about 22 years old. Next week I went in there. She was 78 years old. It had sucked so much life out of her. It was crazy.
Oh, dude, I wonder if I can find the core of this place because when I tell people that it's like a cowboy. Like rodeo themed electronics store.
Well, they're all themed differently.
But the one in Plano didn't really have one. It was
like Plano didn't, but all the other ones did. Like the first one's inside of a fucking pyramid in California, and then there's like another one that's like a space theme one, and then there's like look up just like their yeah, because this one has, like, this used to be, like, a dance hall or some shit. I asked him about it. It used to be, like, it was, like, a dance hall or some rodeo thing. But, yeah, look at that top left one. Like, fucking what? Montezuma's Return? What is this? Like, I mean, what do we got going on here, boys?
Yeah, but, I mean, like, the one that I live next to, they had these, like,
this is the one in Garland. Yeah, that's the one I would go to. But the last couple months of that store was looking desperate.
Oh, dude, it was bad. Oh,
it was just like
bad.
It was 4 lanes of like as seen on TV shit, and then like 3 computer cases from like 2009.
Listen,
then, like,
if you wanted
like battery banks,
if you wanted like Calypso juice, Sobe water, Voss,
you could get.
If you wanted like a couple cans of balls. If you wanted to get like a bunch of bags of Sour Patch Kids or some Jelly Bellies, like they got you, dude. You want a keyboard, mouse, or literally anything that a tech like company should sell? Good luck. Go to Micro Center.
You could get some fucking tweeters that put in the back of your car though. They did have a extensive automotive section for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, no joke. Like, look, Fry. Like, this is a screenshot from Fry's Plano.
That's
That
crazy
somebody.
because that store was always like pretty slammed. Like that is surprising.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the
Well, there's
TV
your car
section.
audio section.
Yeah, yeah. But this is where they had like all the 70-inch TVs and shit.
Yeah, Baron.
Because then you turn around and that was like the BYC area and all that. Not BYC, but build your own computer, same thing. Um,
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Fry's was such a wacky store. Like, and it didn't. The problem was is once you realize that Micro Center exists and it's in the same city you live in, you go, well, why the fuck am I going to Fry's? Like, because it's way more condensed. The people actually had some idea of what they were talking about. Generally speaking, most people at Micro Center, at least for a long while, have a pretty good idea of what's going on with a computer, and they look like they do. And then you go to like I don't know. Fry's was just like it was basically like a weird Walmart of like electronics, kind of like it wasn't good. Like you could find more niche stuff than you could at a Best Buy, but it was like way less quality most of the time too. Like it was weird. I built my first computer at Fry's, so I can't like totally hate on them. But they definitely overcharged me for that PC, and I don't know what I was doing back then. For sure, it was way too expensive.
Yeah. They had these lifeless longhorns.
Yeah. They sure
but
did.
dude. Oh yeah. So this was actually the original Garland store. That was before it became a Fry's.
Well, and look right there. It says Radio Shack is closing. So, have just big name retail. I wonder who's gonna take that building next because it's like huge. Like it's fucking huge inside there.
I wonder. I wonder if
space.
they're just gonna tear it down and hey, apartment real estate.
Maybe I don't know. They could do some stuff with it because there's like a Sam's Club right next door and there's a lot of space. I mean, like
Turn
Target
it into a Walmart.
could probably take it. Yeah, I mean any of those big boys would take it, but I wonder. It does sort of it's to suck to get diminishing electronic. There's the space one. I mean, again, why not? But very weird that you would decide to do this and then
yeah. I mean, cool, but yeah. The other thing is that like I remember people like championing like for Best Buy to close down, and I'm always like, like buying stuff online is like one thing, but I've always found more like instant gratification from like going to a store, looking at it, being like, yeah, I want this, opening it on the way to the home, like there's something cathartic to that.
See, I have a fun because when I grew up in Kentucky, the closest one was like 35 minutes away, so it was like a day trip if we were gonna go to Huntington and then find the mall there or whatever, and then that's the only time I would go to Best Buy. I have a very nostalgic feeling of everything in there was being like it was like straight blue for a long time, and then you would just the clack of all the games being in these like other boxes,
like the clamshells,
as you're like shuffling through them, and I have like very distinct images of GBA games being there. I bought like I think my first Game Boy came from there, and then Game Boy Color and all this stuff. Like so, it's like I have this weird connection with Best Buy as much as I have disdain for them at times.
I remember like seeing the Gorillas on like MTV as a kid, and then like at Best Buy, the same music video was playing in like the music section, and they had like all the albums like there, and I was I want this, and then that was like the first actual album I ever bought.
Okay, mine was the first album I can remember purchasing myself was I bought Cisco's Enter the Dragon, but it was edited at Walmart because I had the right one, and the guy there was like, "Hey," I was with my grandmother. And the guy's like, "Oh, this is explicit. This has bad lyrics." She's like, "Well, we got to get the other one." I was like, "Why don't we just not get it at all?"
Yeah.
If I can't have the songs, then I don't want this.
Yeah, for sure. The thong song just edited.
Dude, that. Baby, make it go.
Yeah.
It's just, baby, that. Yeah. It would just be such a bummer.
I remember. So the first album I ever got like as a gift, there were two on the same birthday. My dad got me like a stereo, and in the stereo was Crazy Town. Do you remember Crazy Town? They're the band that does that Butterfly song.
Yeah, come on, lady, come, my lady, you're my
Come, lady,
butterfly,
come.
sugar,
That was in
baby.
there. And I had like never listened to them, so it was like, okay. My
I like
aunt
how
bought that CD.
she
And
was trying to
then
send a message out, just trying to shoot a flare across. Like,
yeah,
hey, I need some. I don't. I
yeah.
know I can't get it from you, but you got any friends? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
And then like
That's
my
terrible.
grandma got me Blink 182's like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I'm pretty sure that same birthday. If those didn't come out like right at the same time, they were close cuz I
Jeez.
remember putting those CDs like right in the CD player.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
My okay, so my uh my parents have been divorced for quite a while. So my dad one Christmas got me a CD player, but we haven't really hung out at all, so he has really no idea what I listen to or what kids listen to. He only knows. I think he probably went and I mean, bless his heart for trying, but I'm sure he went into the store and was like, "What do kids like?" Because I got like a Backstreet Boys album, Britney Spears album, and what was the other one? There was like it was maybe Backstreet Boys. It was like maybe Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Britney Spears or some
Oh
shit.
yeah, yeah.
And
Because the guy was just like, "Well, these are the top 3 artists right now."
yeah, and I was like already kind of like loosely listening to Modest Mouse and some other shit. I had some dude that worked at this FYE. Speaking of like electronics retailers, but this dude that worked at FYE, my goodness, I was gonna buy like I'm trying to think of the album that I was gonna buy, but I was gonna buy some like pretty shitty whatever, some butt rock thing, and then he was like, "Don't." He's like, "If you don't get that, I'll give you this, and then you can buy these other two." And I was like, "Okay." And it was like Modest Mouse album. It was like Built to Spill, and then I think it was Godspeed You Black Emperor or something. And I'm like 12 or 13, and this dude's like, "Here you go, man." And I was like,
That's
"Tight, I'll
dude,
listen
what if
to it."
it
And then
was
I was like,
you?
"Oh shit, this
What if
is
that was you
future
as like
me."
a time traveler? Like you just like went
Well,
back in
his
time.
son's name was legitimately Spider, so I don't think that's true. But
I mean, that sounds
maybe
like
it
something
was.
really cool that you would do.
I
I'm
could
just
have been
saying.
goofing. If I knew I was a time traveler, I'm like, dude, this son's just a big joke, dude. Spider, whatever.
Ah, dude,
But
yeah. Could you imagine like you grew? There's a separate timeline you that
dude, he
bought that
changed the
fucking
path of
like.
my life completely, and he has no idea he did.
Yeah, that
Or
was
maybe he
you
does.
almost
I
bought
don't
like
know.
a. You almost bought like a lit album or like a Sum 41 album or you
Probably
almost bought
butt
like
cherry, dude.
what's
No,
the
I
other
don't know
one
what
that
it was.
everybody uh
I
fuck.
honestly, I'm pretty sure it was the Linkin Park album that had Gundams on it, and I think I was gonna get it just because it had Gundams on it.
Hybrid Theory is a
But
great album though. I'm just saying.
well, I was gonna say, like, say what you will about Linkin Park, I don't love them, but they do make more good music than I think you think they do. Not you
Yes.
specifically,
Yes.
but
No,
most
yeah.
people.
So
And
when
at the time was a pretty interesting thing they were doing. So regardless, so
I
I ended up
actually
getting that album later, and I ended up really liking it. But at the time, yeah, I mean that dude changed because it's also the people I got hung out with ended up like not necessarily changing, but were definitely affected by that up till. Like Tyler, our buddy that we went to high school with or whatever. That one of the first things I talked to him about that. It's just crazy to think of like some dude at this CD store is like, "Fuck this," and I was like, "Okay," and then yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing I'm
Oh
coming
yeah, of
across
course.
now.
Yeah. No, like
But
yeah, I remember when the pandemic started, I was like looking at Spotify and I was just like I could listen to some discographies. I got a lot of time working from home.
yeah,
I started listening to like I was like I want to know like did Linkin Park really get like as terrible as people said they did like over time? And I think overall their style got a little like a little less unique, I think. But like they never made like really, really bad music. I didn't
no, I don't think
like
so.
their last album, but like it wasn't objectively bad music. Like I don't know how to put it. Like
I don't think I've heard it, so I don't know. But I get what you're saying. Like it's not. Well, it's bands will suffer from this a lot of times, which I think is one of the reasons I like Manchester Orchestra so much. Is they like change every album like a little bit, but you expect them to.
yeah.
Whereas like a lot of bands get into that thing, especially bands with certain fan bases as well, like where they're like they want you to play the same fucking thing again. They want the same feeling they got from whatever your hit song was a while ago. They want it again from your new stuff, but it's just not gonna happen the same way because life's not the same. and you've already, so there like a lot of bands just stick to the same structure, and they either get praised for that or shit on for it. But I think also, I mean, most good artists are ones that, I mean, I won't say most good artists, but most artists that like transcend or keep going usually, gotta change it up and do something else. Cause one, they'll get bored. Two, you'll get bored, but you don't know why. You're like, I don't like this anymore, and it's like, cause it's the same fucking thing you've heard a million times. It's just the words are a little different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't fault any band for trying some weirder shit, except for I'm a Robot, actually, except for them. You know
I'm
what?
a Robot's a great band. That's a great band.
Yeah, I'm a Robot is a great band, but then they started singing about trying to get home and how they like fucking condor feathers in their IPAs and shit, and I'm just not dealing with it anymore.
Listen, I guess you go to fucking rehab and find God, and then your music just gets bad. Like I was not a big fan of that. Mean, oh yeah, Edward Sharpe. Yeah.
For getting through struggles or whatever it is that happened, but man, damn, dude, I'm a Robot was so much fun, and I just don't love.
I mean, like,
stuff,
like
fine.
Mindless Self-Indulgence is a band I always like because they were way out there and they were always like kind of doing their own thing, and they were actually like good friends like with the lead singer of like I'm a Robot, and like their sounds are very uniquely different, but the energy, like the thing I like about both of those bands like at that time was just the energy of it.
Yeah,
and then
they
you go to
done a combo album.
Yeah, and then you go to Edward Sharpe, and dude, so at my last job, I used to hear that da 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 da. Yeah, dude, every day.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I hate that song because I don't, but it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that thing of like.
I just comparatively, I'm just not.
And you're like, dude, fucking sing some
that's
about
some real
planets and shit.
That's some real. I went to the tropics and tripped ayahuasca and found God type shit.
But that's the thing. That's a problem with like 90% of indie music is always about going home. Hey man, fucking just call your mom, dog. Just call somebody. Just let him like get on the horn. Let your grandma know what's going on.
Listen,
like it's just
on your phone.
Oh God,
you got Google Maps. Like you don't have to have a Maps Go anymore. If you lose a Maps Go, you got a phone. As long as it doesn't flip open, pretty sure you got GPS somewhere.
It's always like, man, birds are interesting. God, I want to go home. Man, I hate my childhood, but I miss my family. And you're like, just fucking call them, bitch. It's a lot of indie music. I don't dislike it, and I obviously connect with a lot of it, but it is still just that thing of like at a point you're like, all right, guys, you gotta stop going home. You gotta either stop going home, or you gotta start getting there. You gotta start actually getting on that bus.
And
but hey, we haven't talked about video games for about 35 minutes, so you ready to wrap this piece up?
Yeah. I don't know. It was just talking retail. I don't know. There's I think there's a place for retail, and it's also why I don't like. I get the hate against GameStop and like the shitty experiences that both you and I have had. I think more on your side.
Sure, yeah.
But if they can change their model, like I think there's always going to be a place for like retail. Like doom and gloom around it, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because I've had my fair share of fights with Amazon. I don't particularly love also, and it's just the same thing of like, I don't know. Well, I mean, with the retro stuff too, especially like I like the just finding it out and the random and whatever. But that's obviously not everybody either. But I definitely think that you can't. I mean, it can't go away necessarily. It could go away for a lot of stuff, but there's generally things that you do. Sometimes you do need that moment, and not frivolous shit. There's just like some stuff that you do actually need at a time, and that's still the easiest way to get it is somewhere that already has it. So it's like, So I don't know. I can see, but yeah, for stuff you don't need, maybe I don't know. Maybe it changes a little bit. I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, this was a weird episode.
It really was.
A good one, though.
It really was. But the thing is, too, is I think there's not a whole lot of news left because E3 came and went with not a whole lot of excitement. And then, I mean, I'm excited about some stuff, but not a whole lot. And then, I mean, the next major thing was going to be the Switch deal, but that kind of was a bummer. And then
we're just getting bummed. Like this year's just full of bummers so far. I don't know.
And there's been some pretty good game. I mean, cause like I was, I just finished Ratchet and Clank. That was a very good game. I think at $70, I don't know, but at like 50, yeah, for sure. Like 40 to 50, absolutely. 70 seems like, I mean, it's a weird thing because the production value is 100% there. Like, there's no question about like how, like I did run into a weird amount of bugs, and I recorded one that was really strange. But it was like every bullet that was shooting out would make these like giant weird towers or something that was like really wrong. Whatever it was that happened once. I had the game hard crash once too. But other than that, like I mean, it was a steady 4K with a bunch of shit going on screen, like particles, like I don't know, in the 50s of AI enemies at times, like all shooting shit at. Like it's really impressive. So I will say like I think there's two sides to it. One, like games are too expensive, are gonna be too expensive for this stuff. For certain games specifically, like I like a 2K game is gonna be like 70 to $80, probably over 100, which it already was for some editions of it, but over $100 for effectively the same game. That's not great. Games like this, like I think it's a shame because you're only gonna go through it once, and I think the cost also sort of dictates that too. Like I think it's really a good experience. Like it's a really good, fun, like challenging game. As I played it on, I think, I guess there's a higher difficulty that opens once you finish it. But I played it on the hardest difficulty that it comes with, which is like 4 tiers up or whatever it is, and which I think is the way to play that game, and that'll give you definitely more mileage out of it. But yeah, after that, it's like, all right, well, you can do like a few challenges or maybe go through the game with modifiers. One, actually, this is separate from that, I guess. But one neat thing, uh, all the like gold bolts you get all unlock like basically cheat codes or weird stuff like that. Like it'll be like when I sent you that Keyblade thing, it's like there's one that changes. You have like 8 different things you can change the melee weapon to, and then like your you can change like all the filters on the game to make it like a retro mode or whatever. You can change it to where it like one of the bolts just adds damage numbers if you want them. Another one's like it gives you confetti shoots out every time you get a critical shot.
Oh,
You could
that's
actually
good.
change. You can change all of the bolt pickups to like the coins or rubies, or you can change them to the like cans from Sunset Overdrive, which was cool.
Oh, that's
Like
cool. Yeah.
and or big head mode, whatever, unlimited ammo, that kind of shit. So you can do all those tweaks, which is just like so. It's a game with cheat codes in this into 2021. That was cool. They're not necessarily codes, but you earn the ability to cheat, which is neat. And then like you find a bunch of suits of armor, but they give you an overall buff by finding each piece of them and then all of them, and then you can just wear whatever you want cosmetically, which is also a weirdly cool thing to put into this game. Um,
Are the same cosmetics between Rivet and Ratchet?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
All the weapons are too. Everything you get, there's like some dimensional narrative with it to where it's like you have the same bank account, and so like because you're the same person, so like
Okay.
all of the all that stuff intermingles. Like I don't know, it's kind of like a loose dimensional, like whatever the fuck it's kind of like whatever you feel like. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a good game, but I think the price is a little much, and I think the problem that not AAA developers are going to run into trying to make like that weird double to regular A, maybe triple B sort of production game. I feel like it's going to have a hard time finding footing a little bit with like the fidelity and the performance of these games now that especially the Sony first party stuff are the ones tied to Sony. It's going to be hard for other people to come up to this level. Like I mean,
well, yeah, I mean,
I guess this is not even really an argument or not even really a discussion really, because I guess that's obvious, but it is like I don't know, I guess what I'm saying is like the first party stuff is what really shines, but that's also obvious. I don't need to be speaking right now, I think, is what I'm realizing. The more I'm starting to say stuff, the more I'm like, yeah.
What I think you're
that's
getting
apparent.
at is that like, and this has like been the story for the last several months, is that like Sony's chasing blockbusters, dude. Like they're chasing these big, like exacerbated like experiences. They're not. They like with the PS4, like they were a little more indie friendly. They kind of had like this open image, and like it seems like with PS5, they're really chasing like those high budget, high dollar games. Yeah, you're gonna have your indie games on it, but I don't think that PS5 is where a lot of people are playing the indie titles. With Game
I
Pass and
see.
like people on Xbox like having access to a lot of indie titles like with the subscription service. The
Well,
Switch
that's
being like the perfect performance for most indie titles.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, to
that's why I
some
say
extent,
most, but you see a lot of indie developers out there saying like Switch is where we're selling. Like that console is
yeah,
where we're
yeah.
making our money.
Well, the issue that Sony has with that stuff too is like the way that, because I've read a few articles about that recently of just like Sony's negligence of like indie developers in a lot of ways, or like not allowing them to discount their games whenever they want to, and not letting them get promoted on the storefront or whatever, because it'll be like certain specific ones will get the top slot and some never will. You know, there's like, well, their storefront as a whole needs an overhaul. Like even then, like I like the interface for the PS5 overall, but I think their store is really bad and like kind of weirdly confusing and like kind of not sure how to get to the stuff you would want to quickly do from it. Like it's a weird design. I think the PS4 version was better, or the three I guess had pretty much the same storefront as that. Um, but but yeah, I don't know. I think. I mean, that's true. I don't know. I think the thing is seeing the performance of this thing. Like, it's really. I would buy a lot if they utilize anything that's offering. Like, I would almost rather get it there than I would on maybe even the PC in a lot of cases for whatever reason, just because it is that way. But I think with what you were saying is, yeah, they are definitely shooting that shot, and I think them being tied to Sony Entertainment movies and stuff like that, like movie pictures and other stuff, give them the opportunity to make very cinematic shit. Because yeah, the last like handful of stuff I've played from theirs, even from PS4 till now, have been like wildly like the production value is insane. Like that Final Fantasy remake, watching it played at like, which I know is Square Enix, but through Sony in whatever way. But watching that thing get played at 60 frames at 4K is fucking nice. Like, man,
Yeah,
that game looks nice. Like, it's crazy how nice that game looks.
they do need to
And like,
update like textures in some places, but like yeah, overall like the particle effects and like the frame rate and yeah, like that game does look really good.
well, and the character models and stuff, like, I mean, they're still like they're still Square Enix characters. Like, you still see them the way
Yeah.
they do, but they look really good. And
And I mean, like I started playing. When I got Ghost of Tsushima, I was like not big on it when I started playing it. But this week I've probably put like a good 10, 11 hours into the game so far, just doing a lot of exploration and like side content. And I'm getting into it. Like I'm actually like starting to like really
yeah.
like actually look forward to playing that game. I just think it took a while to like really adjust to what that world was wanting me to do. Um, you know,
Yeah, it's not super directive either. It's like you have some big options, but you can kind of cruise around
and that's what I
and
found. Yeah, just like, hey, let me.
uh
The thing I do like is that like you can just set, like if you're wearing the traveler's attire, you can go to the map and be like, direct me to a random thing I haven't seen, and the wind will just take you to a random thing you've never seen. You also get like the birds that are flying. A lot of environmental cue stuff that's like really cool.
yeah. And I think I actually ripped on that at like Game of the Year stuff, or at least the Game of the Year awards stuff. I remember mentioning it, but I get it now. Like I get what they're saying. Like I still personally, yeah, I still haven't been like super highly compelled to play that game as much as I would like to. I think I'll probably, because they're about to put the director's cut out, so I'll probably just wait for that and upgrade it, and then actually go through the
Yeah.
whole thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
That thing could only look good on PS5. Like, if it looks as good as it does on a Pro, like, dude, yeah, that,
well, it runs at 60 and it's 4K on the Pro, so yeah, it already like it
yeah.
just feel. I mean, it didn't feel bad on the Pro to be honest
No,
either,
no,
but
yeah, just you
um,
can tell, like, yeah, with a PS5 and a little added something, yeah, that game's
yeah.
gonna shine on that thing.
It does really look nice, and same with Death Stranding because I never finished it on PC, so I'll probably end up getting that version of that game to go through it because I would like to. I would really like to see that game probably more than a lot of games I put on the shelf like for a while. But I think like that's a thing I think that is like taken for granted a lot with consoles that I didn't really think about. before is like, yes, consoles definitely don't do everything a PC does, but I think that's really by design. Like, I think it is really like, it should be just this. And I think that's again where Sony excels. It's like, you're doing this game, and I think in a weird way, and I don't, it's maybe just defending them too much for what it is, because I don't agree with the size of the hard drive, but in a lot of ways, I do think that it's almost intentional for the way that they want you to go through their games, sort of, because it's like they. All of their games are better served if you're not playing several at a time. Like, it's really better served to just go through each of them as a piece and then move on. And I think that in a weird way, having a drive that's smaller. I mean, definitely now getting an external drive, 100% recommend you do that for any PS4 games, because yeah, it's like I basically because to be fair, with the exception, I think, of the remake, which I think is still smaller than it is on PS4, but all the other games are really only like 30 to 40 gigs, which is still a lot for a drive that's only 600 gigs. But that is still much better than what they were prior to this. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
they are shrunk down quite a bit and whatever. And I think once they open that NVMe, it should act as additional internal PS5 storage, because I think that one drive is rated at 5,500 megabytes per second. So if you find a NVMe that's that or faster, it should operate in a similar fashion, as long as it can format to however the PS5 wants to operate with it, which I think would be great. Those are going to be hella expensive though, because I've already looked at a few of them in the Gen 4 NVMe's. Yeah, terabyte, you're looking at about $200. So
damn,
or more. So it's like it's up there. That's why I'm holding off. Also, I'm like, hopefully that price will drop a little bit, and they'll actually announce like what its function is. But yeah, for $40, you can get a 2 terabyte external drive and play PS5 games or 4 games, no problem.
Well, that's really great, Kelly, because I'm gonna get back to playing Persona 4 Golden on my PlayStation Vita console.
I'm about to start 5 Royale, I guess, here in the next couple days probably. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what to actually finish next. I think I might spend a little more time with Returnal and then go to now that Ratchet and them sewn up, I think I might do Returnal or Dark Souls, because I would like to. I really like the vibe of Returnal. I want to see what else it has to offer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I did start Persona 4 Gold on the Vita, so who knows? Maybe I'll finish that. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Monster Hunter Stories 2 is really good, by the way. That was another, like, the PC version of that game is really good. I haven't cracked the Switch one to try it. I've heard some stuff about the performance. But the PC version's real good. Weirdly, it has PS5 controller support already. Like, it has the button prompts, which is nice. And then it doesn't have widescreen support, which is weird and a little unfortunate. But it's if for my money, it's the best Pokemon game out there. I don't
yeah
particularly like Pokemon, but I'm having a blast with this game. Generally speaking, yeah. Because they've done a lot of. We can talk about it more next week, because I want to spend a few more hours with it. I spent like 10 or 15 with it so far.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
A good bit of that was idle, so I want to actually.
I may or may not also pick up Skyward Sword HD. So who knows if I'll have something to say on that.
That's what
tomorrow.
When? That's tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Fuck. Okay. Well, dang diddly dang. I was gonna crack open Pikmin 3 too, but I still haven't done that either. But
yeah, there's just a lot on the slate.
Dude, that came out fucking 10 years ago, dog. Don't give me this yet tomorrow.
No, here it is, July 16th.
Oh, yeah, whatever. I thought July 16th was way farther away than it was.
I'll put it up on screen because it is kind of stupid. I literally put Skyward Sword HD release date, and yeah, November 18th, 2011. Like, fuck, yeah, man. They announced,
that was 10
felt
years
like
ago.
Yesterday they announced that thing.
No, it's been a while. But yeah. Well,
yeah,
folks, there's going to be some video games that come out. We're going to play some video games probably next week. We're going to be playing some video games that you'll get to see on Sunday, and those will come up sometime during the week. Probably.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna keep trying for maybe Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and maybe like a Saturday. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. Maybe just during the week. I don't know yet what we're gonna do with those.
It's Tuesday, Thursday, and then podcast Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got some real heaters coming up. A lot of.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm so excited to record on Sunday. We've got some shit down the pipeline.
Oh, there's some garbage on these shelves. Actually, I took this whole row down here, this whole subsection, and just made it all the movie and TV stuff. Dude, I'm really excited about the American Chopper games, because there's hold on, I'll highlight this real quick and then we'll leave. But especially on the sequel, I don't know how well this will show, but there's it just says more pressure, and then it has this guy to let you know that you're going to be getting yelled at by the chief. That meme that always comes around of them arguing back and forth.
Yeah.
We get to live it, brother. Well, we get to live it when we get to the sequel, because I don't know if it's included in American Chopper 1. But in American Chopper 2, it's definitely in there. My guess, because these are also made by Activision, my guess, these are going to play out real similar to Pimp My Ride, but with motorcycles. But I don't know that.
Do you get to ghost ride the motorcycle? Because you're Ghost Rider?
No, you get to. One of the mini games is you just reload a shotgun.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, quick time event reload.
Actually, I don't know. You know what? I mean, we should save it for the actual episode, but I am curious. Build it, customize it, show the guys, ride it. 50 sick missions. You get to rule the road. You get themed choppers, and you get twisted on road action. I don't have any idea what the fuck that means.
I think I got 2 cats about to wrestle in my house.
Yeah, I was about to say, you missed the phrase twisted on road action, but that's fine.
Twisted on road action.
That's what you can do in this game. It just says twisted on road action. I have no idea what that means.
Those words actually don't make any sense at all.
That's what it says. Look, brother, here we go. I'll get it to where it. Yeah, twisted on road action. At the very bottom.
Oh, okay, wait. On finger. Road. Okay, I think I get it. Still doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but.
Well, I would hope that if you're driving fucking motorcycles, you're doing it at least somewhat on the road. It's a weird selling point. The second one also says more on-road action and more pressure. You get more player interaction, you get more customization. It says more pressure.
Yeah,
you're on the hot
seat.
Have a heart attack. Paul Sr. wants it done now. I imagine this first game is going to be lightly about what it is. This second game is going to be this guy just fucking hammering you the whole time, and I can't wait to get yelled at by an old redneck.
Very excited to play that. But yeah, we'll be doing that on Sunday.